Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of what I hope to be a regular series. I'll try to put these out weekly, maybe twice a week, depending on how much I get to play. But for this first episode, I recorded some Leia matchups against Vader Command with my playtesting partner Zuhair. So let me just jump right into the Leia deck here and let's talk about the deck that I played, and then we'll go into the matches, and then after that we will talk about some of the changes that I would like to make moving forward. So this is a pretty standard Leia red deck. Some of the new cards I wanted to try were Heroic Sacrifice, Mon Mothma. Those were just previewed at the time. These were taken a couple days ago as of this recording, so they're still pretty new. Uh, Other than that, the card choices are pretty standard. It's largely hero based to make for a cause I believe in, more impactful overall. Some of the cards that I really wanted to try out were Benthic Two Tubes and Partisan Insurgent as well. I don't believe that those are needed in this deck, but I at least wanted to try them. So, other than that, like I said, pretty standard. Let's see how the matchups go. And I'm doing some voiceover. Like I said, these were pre-recorded. So let's jump right into the match here. Start it up. All right. So this is game one. We had played a couple games before this, so that's why life is a little not reset. I had forgotten to load the correct deck, so I did that, and then we started playing again. Mulligan that hand was pretty slow. This matchup naturally is just about trying to do as much damage to Vader as possible. So we're going to resource a couple cards here. Probably trying to figure out what my turn one's going to be. There we go. So going first against Vader, I wanted to lead with the Insurgent. And Zuhair, let's see what he follows up with. Okay, so he's just going to choke this. So I'm going to draw a card. Uh, I don't hate that trade that much. Choking that instead of something like a Sabine or a Fighters is a pretty big deal. Um, so now with double Sabine, that's an easy resource. And let's see what I decide to do. I think we're just going to go with the 2 units this turn and just try to apply the pressure. Gives Fifth Brother. Play something else. So I played that. I don't mind trading that into the Fifth Brother with the Tarkin Town. I think I come out ahead on that trade. And so now this turn we're going to be looking to establish the K2SO and just start getting in as much damage as possible. He has the initiative here, even though I have the thing there. So the Force Throw's a little annoying here because I don't have like a Metal Ceremony or something cheap to toss. So he's going to be able to kill Sabine, which he does. Um, I do get to poke for 2, but that's still kind of rough for me. Usually at this point in the game, I want Vader to be at like 8 damage on his base. So he decides to attack base and just ping my Spec First Soldier, probably to set up a kill with Vader at some point. And then I'm just going to play the K2, which he destroys immediately. So this game isn't exactly starting off the way that I want it to, but the power of Leia is you're going to be able to see what she can do if you can ever keep a board. So this turn's pretty big. Like I have to resource something I don't want to, but I get to play 2 units and deploy Leia, which is a pretty big turn. and he did not have ramp, so there's no threat of Vader coming out. So if he plays an Imperial card first, I have to attack with Spec Force Soldier right away, so it doesn't get pinged with Vader. Okay, so there. So this is pretty obvious now that I have to swing with Spec Force Soldier, or else I risk just losing it. Yep. So there it goes. So now I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I get to play K2 and Benthic, both for value, as in they can't really be interacted with right now. Just trying to figure out damage here. I don't really care about his fifth brother at this point. I guess I kill it anyway. Well, that's reasonable with Benthic. I don't want to give him a free kill on the Benthic, so that attack makes sense. So now we have a full board. He has initiative. He can't take out 2 units with one action, so Leia's going to get value here no matter what. Choose not to play a resource this turn because I want all the cards in my hand. So ideally, we can use Leia to do 2 attacks and then use the Fleet Lieutenant to do the third. Just fixing damage totals from the Vader ping. So I have a lot of damage in my hand being represented. The 4 Cause, usually in this deck, always does 3, usually 4. So his base is at an effective 10 to 11 damage right now. So he figures out with the resource here. And I think he's gonna ambush something in. He's hovering over that ECL. Don't know what. Still trying to figure out. There he goes. Okay. So that's pretty good for him. He can bring out Vader this turn now, but it's going to take 2 actions, and by then, hopefully, this is going to do a lot of damage here. So we just go for the max damage possible right now. This is, so I could use the fleet here to attack with Leia, and then use her ability to also attack with K2. He brings out Vader, then I just bring on Nightwing. So this should be game. I take initiative. He destroys my A-wing, no big deal, but I'm representing, what's that, 7 damage on board, plus at least, I don't know how much in my hand. I could also kill him with Heroic Sacrifice here and just attack for 6 and then 3 with K2. But, yeah, I just show him that I have the win. We scoop up to go to game 2. So that's usually how a lot of the games go with Leia into Vader, is that with their 25 health base, a lot of times they're a little bit too slow and they can't keep up with your late game bursts of damage. You know, early game, it doesn't matter that much if you don't get a lot through, because usually on turn like 3, 4, 5, you have large chunks of like 6, 7, 8 damage that they really can't do anything about. So this is a pretty good hand too. I don't love that there's no space units, but playing around TIE interceptors, not the worst idea anyway. Just trying to figure out what the resource here. It's tough with all these low cost cards in your hand. Because sometimes you just want to lead with 2/1 drops. Yep, which is the option I'm opting to do here. So he plays Shore Trooper, so I'm just like immediately punished for not playing my 3/3, which is kind of annoying. Yep, kills the 2 tubes, and then I think what we do here is just deck base. We're playing Fighters for Freedom here, but using Tarkin Town on the Shore Trooper, there's some merit there. Usually you want to save it for like Fifth Brother. Yep. So there's the Fighters for Freedom. Okay, so Fifth Brother. I think he's just taking this trade. That's what he's trying to figure out. Ah, okay, so he's gone with the Force Throw first. Okay. So I just give him a 1, so there's really no way that he can get max value from Fifth Brother here. He's just doing math, trying to figure out if he can kill both units, which he can't. So we just go to face as quickly as possible. So we want him to use as many resources as possible before we play K2, so he can't just destroy it. Um, he's going to put 2 damage on Fighters for Freedom here. That's a little annoying, but because now the Shore Trooper can just take out the fighters. So seeing that, I think I just want to deploy Echo-based Defender, so he can't just make that easy trade. So now he has to work still to destroy the fighters. So there. Do we go out of order? I think we might have went out of order. No, okay. Okay, we're back. Oh, because he ECL'd. Yeah, okay. So he commits to just doing 2 damage to the Echo Base Defender. And then I think at this point, so now he can kind of do whatever he wants with Fifth Brother. I don't know what's correct here. He can kill just about anything. He's probably going to send into the Sentinel. Well, I guess he can't. He has to use Vader first to kill the Sentinel. Yeah. Just making sure he played a villain card. He did. So now he can finally get max value out of the Fifth Brother here. He can attack the Fighters for Freedom and ping the Spec Force Soldier. Yeah, then we were going to Tarkin Town it, but then I realized we didn't need to because Fifth Brother would have 3 health left from the ping. So turn 4 here, pretty big turn because again your Leia turn's always pretty big. So being able to bring out Leia first into an empty board is pretty good. So it's already at 11. We do need to draw some direct damage pretty quickly here, or else this might get out of hand. Not not having any burst is kind of a big deal. So these are playtest games, so it's not really a big deal if he goes back and resources something else. I play with Zoo here all the time. So building a board. This is a turn 5. Okay, so he's just going to kill K2, go to 14, and I think this is a good spot for us to just take initiative, which is what we're doing. We just kind of clicked on the chat instead. Ping Leia. Probably has the Vader in his hand to ambush Leia. So we don't need to resource anything here. And I think that draw was pretty bad for us. There's no direct damage. What we wanted was either another K2 or for a cause. This is just going to do 6. And we're like, I know this game looks okay from a standpoint of the current turn, but this Vader deck, he's going to be able to play Vader this turn and probably the 7-drop one as well. So if I don't draw direct damage, I'm at risk of just getting chunked for 25 very quickly. Especially with no space units either. Because now Vader's going to be able to clear my board. And all I can really follow up with is the Benthic and the Battlefield Marine. So I think at this point, what I say what I should do is just take initiative here and hope he can't kill my guy, which of course didn't work out. Alternatively, I could have played Battlefield Marine, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Because if I do that, then he can just take initiative and, again, just wipe my board. So now we're looking at, what's that, 3, 6, 11, 14, 19 damage in play. And, again, I didn't draw any direct damage. So this game, grabbed a card on accident from my resources, but this game is largely over. Drew pretty poorly at the end, and, it this is kind of how this matchup goes. It doesn't matter what happens early on. It just comes down to late game, and if I have burn to finish it off. This game I didn't, so there's actually a small chance I win here if he has nothing, which is very unlikely. Let's see. So he should have. Okay, so there's the barrage. That's just what he needed to win. So I believe we just scoop him up here and go to the third game. Just doing math. Yeah, realize that I'm dead. So these are the hands that we really like with this deck, right? We have the option to go into space or the ground. We have Wing Leader to pump anything. We have Fleet Lieutenant if we want. We opt to resource that and Benthic, and I think we go A-Wing this game. Yeah, the A-Wing, so, excuse me, this kind of draw opens ourselves up to um, TIE Interceptor, but it also represents the most damage. So I'm fine with that because now we can play the red 3 uh, and be able to, in theory, keep it around. This kind of draw and line also protects us from force choke since you can't choke our space units. Yep, there's the interceptor. So given that, we just decide to go to K2, which is going to set up next turn pretty well for our Leia turn. Yeah, so this is really good at this point. I'm representing, what's that, 4, 8, 11, 14 damage just in burn from double K2, double 4 cause. Um, so really, I just have to do, I don't know, like 10 damage to his base, basically. To be able to finish him off with burn. If he attacks with Interceptor first, we can actually Wing Leader. Yep, which is what we do, because there's really no good option for him here to be able to do 6 damage uh, with Vader on 5 resources. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. So now we get to attack for 6. So, you know, like I said, I really only have to do, I guess, 11 damage at the minimum, and there's 6 of it right there. Leia's going to come in for 4 in theory as well. So he's going to ping the, I assume, the Wing Leader. Yeah. And then we're just going to be able to get Leia out here and deal 4 more. I don't think there's anything he could really play here to deal with this. He can play a unit like a short trooper, but it's really not going to do a lot for him in the long run. Yeah, so there's Short Trooper. Uh, just 4 more to base, and then all I really have to do at this point is like 1 more damage essentially. So he has initiative. He's just going to take this trade. The Short Trooper now, of course, is 4 attack. He goes to 16, but he just didn't do it yet. Yeah. I don't think we fixed it yet for him, but uh, there's another K2. I mean, I think he realizes that this game is pretty much over. I don't. Maybe I missed it. I don't know if he took his K2 damage or not, but I don't think it matters. Yeah, okay. He's definitely taking this one. So at this point, and unless something crazy happens, this this game's over. So we can play A Wing if we want, just to soak up some damage, or just take the initiative and use our first 2 actions to just kill him. I don't think it matters much either way. Yeah, the A Wing comes out just to save 3 on our base. Yeah, we just Tarkin Town as interceptor. He plays a guy, and then we take initiative. So he's not representing enough to even come close to killing us. Doesn't matter what I resource here, as long as it's not for a cause, and unless something wild happens, we have a pretty easy 5 damage in our hand here. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. So that's game. We just, we can keep those right on top. And I think here in a second, I just show them the second one. Yeah. That's always what you want to do. So you never want to resource for a cause I believe in against Vader, really against any slow, controlly leader, because that's oftentimes how you win the game. Is with K2SO burn and for a cause I believe in. And I believe we play 1 or 2 more games here, so we'll stay with it. For at least 1 more. So again, this draw is okay. It's not great. We do have the option to go to space or ground, um, but it lacks reach, which is there's no for cause. There's no, uh, we do have K2, but it's just it's a little lacking in like efficient units. So he goes with probe droid, and we just immediately decide to go to the air. Okay. The draw is not awful. Hits us for 3, which we're perfectly fine with because now our A Wing can attack for 5. We probably should Fleet Lieutenant here. Fighters for Freedom is actually reasonable too because he attacked with Probe Droid first. Excuse me. Yeah, so we're going with the fighters here. Fifth brother makes it a little awkward. My sequencing there could have been better. I think the plan was after he attacked to play the Fighters for Freedom, but then after he played the fifth brother, I didn't really want to make that trade, so we went with Wing Leader. So I could have sequenced that better just to stay in space, but that's that's on me. So I probably missed out on two damage there. So he's going to force throw. I'm totally happy to just pitch this Metal Ceremony. That's pretty big. And now I can use Leia if I want, and that is 7 damage. So him only having 3 resources left for the turn, I can pretty safely deploy K2 here and put him on the back foot pretty quickly. He can trade with Fifth Brother, but that's not really a spot that he really wants to be in. Because then I get to take initiative and hit him for 7 more. Decides not to trade. Yeah, so I take initiative and he chokes. Okay. So it gives a 13. So I don't hate his line there. I don't know what he could have done differently. He could have kept the choke and just made the trade with Fifth Brother. But I guess it's merit either way. Keeping Fifth Brother in play is pretty good. So we get to hit with A-Wing now for 5 again. And as long as we can get some reach here at some point with like 1 for a cause, that should be enough to win this game. We just have to do basically 6 more damage. And looking at our hand, we can definitely get 6 damage out of this. I would like for him to use resources before I deploy Leia. Yeah, okay. So given that, it's probably safe. I might... There is some merit to also just playing Sabine here as well, just to kind of bait, like another attack or removal. Because the Sabine in my hand's not doing anything. So he can't kill Leia here. He's attacking, I think, me for 3 and pinging Leia. Oh no, he just attacks Leia. Okay. Then I just hit him for 6 with Fleet Lieutenant. So this is, again, this is probably game. Uh, he has 5 resources to try to deal with my whole board, which of course isn't likely. He plays Barrage here. Uh, we're, we're we're talking back and forth. He was under the impression that the Fifth Brother just has 5 attack, and then that barrage would have been for 7, which still isn't really enough. But he realizes that it's actually only for 2, or plus the 2 from barrage is 4, and he can only really kill Leia. So we'll stop there. We play one or two more games, but I mean I think 4 games is enough. Moving into the changes for the deck, um, this is something that I really want to try because I think that For Cause I Believe In is one of the best cards for this kind of deck, and I always want it to do 4 damage as much as possible. So, what I want to try is not necessarily a slower version of Leia, but one that might be a little more space focused with Bright Hope. Um, this really allows you to protect Red 3 a lot better than the current version does. Red 3 is one of the best cards in the deck, and it often feels like you can't play it against a lot of decks that have anything in space. So Bright Hope is really there to protect your Red 3 draws, and it really like allows you to go either A Wing or the Alliance X Wing into something like a Red 3, and then play Bright Hope to protect your board. Um, I haven't played this version yet, but in theory, it would be better against the more mid-range decks like Boba Fett and Luke. But this deck is already pretty good against Luke. Boba Fett's a pretty tough matchup, though. We added in 2 Akbars, and we cut the Benthic 2 tubes and the Partisan because I just don't love that they're not heroic. And they really mess up the math for a cause I believe in. And I don't think that those draws happen enough to really merit uh, dedicating a deck in early game to that plan to mess up your late game reach. So the Rebel Pathfinder finds a spot perfectly reasonable as a 2/3. It's not something that you're always excited to play, but it's something that gets the job done. It is a rebel. It is heroic. It checks the boxes. Uh, it has 5 stats of total power on turn 2 or 4/2 costs. So that's about the average is 5. Mon Mothma's in there to find K2 late game. That's basically all she's in there for. She's been good, not great. I'm not married to her, but I do like her for now. If we get something better moving forward, then I'd like to try that. But she's fine for what she is. She always finds a unit, so it's basically a draw card. So your turn 5 a lot of the time, or turn 5 is in 5 resources, is play Mon Mothma, find a 3 drop, play a 3 drop, deploy Leia, and kind of go off from there. So your Leia turns are your biggest turns. So as long as you set up your hand to um, really keep in mind that your Leia turn should be your biggest turn, you will pretty much always be able to do enough damage with 4 costs to finish the game off. Um, and yeah, so that's the Leia deck showcase. This is the new version moving forward. For the next video, I'd like to try some Krennic, but if anyone has any decks that they'd like to see, I'm happy to play whatever you guys want. So until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.